Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Redstone video, and in this one you're going to have to crack out your wings because we're going to be taking a look at 5 different obstacles that you can use in your flying courses. Now the idea behind this one really is quite simple. These are just little targets that the player has to fly through when they're completing your course. All of them work in 100% vanilla Minecraft survival, no command blocks required, which is exactly how I like it. So let's crack on and I'll show you what I've got for you. Now this first design is known as the sweeper, and that's simply because we've got this big slime block bar that travels back and forth in front of our target, making it really tricky to fly through. I have to say, when I was recording that little title sequence there, I flew into this thing far more times than I care to admit, and it was all a little bit embarrassing, and I was actually beginning to get a tiny bit frustrated, so watch out for this one, because it is a bit of a challenge. But as far as the redstone circuitry is concerned, we have got 3 different circuits. The redstone clock, which controls when the pistons fire. We've got the triple piston extender, which pushes our slime blocks across. Then we have got the output circuit, which we can link up into a circuit that detects if the player has actually completed the entire course, and I'll be showing you how to do that towards the end of the video. But anyway, if you do want to take a closer look at all the redstone behind this thing, then as always there is a world download down in the description if you do want to check that one out. But let's crack on and I'll show you how to build it. So you want to get things started with this sort of structure right here. It's a 4x4 hole, and these bottom 4 blocks have to be immovable objects. They can be obsidian, furnaces, or whatever you really fancy. Just make sure that they're immovable. But anyway, next to this tripwire hook right here, you just want to place a block like that so they're in line. Then you want to place a repeater set to 4 ticks. That's going to be running out into this block with redstone dust off to one side, and upside down half slab there with a repeater set to 4 ticks. That's going to be running out into a block with a redstone torch off to one side as well. And as you can see, that has created a redstone clock. Now we're going to be turning that thing off because we don't want our redstone clock running right now. But then you just want to head down underneath like this, place a block down at the bottom here, some redstone dust on top of that one, then a block off to this side with a repeater set to 4 ticks, and that is going to be running out into our sticky pistons. So then, running out from this block, you just want to place a block down like this, redstone dust on top of that one, and we're basically going to carry out this redstone line all the way over to here, and an extra block as well with redstone dust on top of all of those blocks right there. Then we are going to grab our removable objects once again, place 2 in like this, then you want to place a repeater set to 2 ticks, and a redstone dust on the edge just like that. So that is going to be powering our triple piston extender, and we'll be dealing with that in the next couple of seconds, but now we need to do our output line. So you want to place a block up the top here. You also want to place a block down here, an upside down half slab right there with redstone dust on top of all of those blocks. Then you want to place a block here, once again redstone dust there, and finally a block down at the bottom here with redstone dust on that one. Then you want to place a sticky piston facing downwards right there and a redstone block on its face, and that there is going to be your output. So now it is finally time to start chucking in all of your pistons. So you want to place a sticky piston down at the bottom right here. Then you want to place a sticky piston on the edge of this redstone dust, and also a sticky piston right there in that sort of formation, and all of them should be switched on. Then you just want to place a slime block there, and obviously slime blocks going right the way up to the top, and that creates your sweeper design. So as you can see, when we flick this thing on, that will create the back and forth sweeping mechanism that will be a real challenge for any players that want to fly through. Now once again, I do just want to mention that if you want to see how to link up these redstone outputs into a proper system that allows you to detect players when they actually finish the entire course, then that will be coming at the end of the video. But now it is time to move on to the next design. Design number 2 is known as the Crusher, and for those of you who are very observant, you might recognise some of the circuitry from my 4x4 scissor door that I recently featured in a redstone video, and if you do want to check out that one, put a link to it down in the description. But once again, this one consists of 3 different circuits. We have got the redstone clock down at the bottom here, and then we have got all of the circuitry for the double piston extenders that happen on either side, and then we have the slightly more complicated output circuit that you can see right here. Now the reason that this thing looks like such a mess is because of course we've had to work around all of this circuitry here, which was actually just a tiny bit more challenging than I first expected, but I managed to do it and it all works wonders. So once again, there's a world download for this one down in the description, but let's crack on and I'll show you how to build it. So once again, you want to get things started with this little structure right here. It's just a 4x4 hole with some tripwire hooks and string going through the middle, and then you want your immovable objects on the sides as opposed to the top and bottom this time, just because of the way that everything works. But once again, those immovable objects can be obsidian, they can be furnaces, droppers, whatever you really fancy. But anyway, now it is time to start wiring this thing up. So you want to place blocks up like this, then slime blocks going up the sides like that, and do the same thing on the other side as well. So just in like this, and then all of those slime blocks there. Now it is time to start chucking in your pistons. So you want to place a block out like this, then 2 sticky pistons on top of one another. Then you want to place a block down at the bottom here and a block up like this. Both of these need to be immovable objects. Then you want to place a repeater set to 3 ticks and a repeater set to 1 tick, and then blocks with that redstone right there. Then you want to do the same thing on the other side, so that is a block out like that, and then 2 sticky pistons, just one on top of the other. Then you want to place an immovable object, and then another one right there, a repeater set to 3 ticks, a repeater set to 1 tick, and then your redstone connecting up both of those. Now to link these little fellas up is actually really quite simple. You just need to place 2 blocks in like this, and then another block in just like that, then blocks going right the way across the bottom there, and on top of all of those blocks you just want to place redstone dust in like this, with repeaters running into those blocks right there, which are going to be powering that block, which will then power all of the pistons. So that is a lot of the circuitry actually completed, but now we are going to be running in our redstone clock. So you want to place a block up like this, a block right here with redstone dust like that, then 2 blocks here and here. You want to grab your repeaters and place one, set it to 2 ticks, then go the other way around, and that's the second one, set it to 2 ticks, then a block up like this, and a redstone torch on the side. And as you can see, we have now got ourselves a working crushing mechanism, so we just have to do the player detector. First off, you want to place a block down here with a repeater running out like this, then you want to place a block here with another repeater running out like that. Then you want to run down to the bottom, place blocks going up like this with redstone dust on top of all of those. Then you want to place a block off the edge like this, and that will wire up those 2. Then you just want to place a sticky piston here, redstone block on its face, then a regular piston there that will cause an update. And that is everything completed. So as you can see, when we travel through here, if we try not to get hit by the crusher, we activate all of the redstone, and we get ourselves a redstone output through this green circuit right here. Now I just want to start things off by saying that was definitely one of the coolest fly passes so far in today's video. I mean, all of them have looked pretty good, but that was something special. Anyway, moving on from that one, as you can see, this design looks a little bit on the familiar side. In fact, I'm fairly certain we just took a look at this thing, and you would pretty much be correct, apart from the fact that this one has a redstone torch right here, and a repeater set to 2 ticks over here. Other than that, it's absolutely identical, and as you can see, it creates an entirely different obstacle that's actually a massive challenge to get through, because of course we've now got a shifting target that means you have to adjust your flight path accordingly, and it's actually pretty hard to deal with. So once again, well, download down in the description for this one, but let's show you how it's done. So the first thing you've got to do is build the previous tutorial. Go back in the video, watch that one, build all of that stuff, and now we are going to make the modification. So the first thing you've got to do is take out this redstone dust right here, replace it with a redstone torch, then place a block on top, and that's that side done. Then you need to head over here and adjust this repeater, set it to 2 ticks. There we go. That is everything finished. Definitely one of the easiest ones, of course. You do have to build all of this first, which is a little bit more complicated, but once you've done that, it's really nice and simple. Now, as far as names are concerned, I'm sort of stuck between the back on yourself or the Super 8. Let me know down in the comments section which one you prefer, but this was by far the most difficult one to fly through. It actually took me over a minute of attempts to get that one shot there, because it's so challenging. It's such a tricky one. What you have to do is fly through the top side, then fly through the bottom side straight away, and every single time I would either hit the bottom or I'd misjudge the starting part. Really very difficult. But as far as the redstone is concerned, it's actually relatively simple. I know this looks like quite a big mess, but we have got the player detectors right here. They run into 2 RS NOR latches, which then have their outputs going into this AND gate, which then run out into this redstone lamp that tells us if the player has made it through both sides. I think it's a really cool system. If you do want to take a closer look, then once again, well, download it down in the description. But now let's show you how to build it. So this time you want to get things started with this large 8 sort of contraption here, which consists of 2 4x4 holes, and then of course we have filled all of those in with the tripwire hooks and the string, as I'm sure you all understand by now. But anyway, let's head down to the bottom. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to place a dot of redstone just in like that, then a sticky piston right there, the redstone block on its face. Now it is time to start wiring up all of the redstone bits. So you want to place a block off to one side like this, redstone dust on top of that one, a block right here, upside down half slab there, redstone dust right there. Then you want to place a block up like this with redstone dust on top like that, and all of those will power that piston there, which we're running out into our RS NOR latch. But first, we want to do the same thing on this level as well. So there's a block there, your redstone dot, your sticky piston facing across with the redstone block on its face, and then the block, redstone dots right there, block up like this, your half slab right there with the redstone dust on top of both of those, then the block up like that with the redstone dust on top. So that is the input section. Now it's time to do the logic section. Now you want to place a temporary block right here, a dropper facing upwards, then you want to place 2 temporary blocks up like this, and a dropper facing downwards. That's your first RS NOR latch. You've just got to fill that in with items, so I'm just going to chuck some redstone dust right in there. And then for this side, we're going to be doing a pretty similar setup. You want to place a block right here, a dropper facing downwards, then your 2 temporary blocks there with your dropper facing back upwards into that dropper right there. Take out your temporary ones, and then you want to fill in that one with an item once again. Now we want to place a comparator running out of this top dropper right here. That's going to be going out into a redstone torch with a block on top. That's going to make half of your AND gate. And then on this side, we're going to do the same thing once again. So that is a comparator running out of the bottom side of this dropper right here. And that's going to be going out into this one here with a block up like this, a redstone torch on the side of that one, and then we're going to have a block right there, redstone dust on the edge of that one, then a redstone torch on the side there, and that will only turn on when both of these RS NOR latches are fired. And the only way that that can happen is if you go through the top side, then you come back round and go through the bottom side. And as you can see, we've got ourselves a redstone output, and that is ready to link up to your system, which detects when the player has completed the course. One thing that I quickly want to add is you might want to add in a reset mechanism. So for example, right now, the player has gone through both sides, which means that this is technically on. However, if another player comes through, obviously that output isn't going to change. So you might want to be able to reset that. And to do that, you just place a block here, redstone dust right there, a button there. And as you can see, when we hit this button, that resets both of these RS NOR latches. So neither of them are giving an output now, which means that your AND gate is currently switched off. Very important. Now I have to say, all of the crazy visual glitches and weird Minecraft 1.9 bugginess sort of did ruin that fly past there, but I'd still say that's fairly impressive. Being able to fly between these two things, that was quite the challenge. But anyway, in this segment, I'm going to show you guys how to connect up your various different builds so that you can detect when the player has flown through them, if they've managed to fly through them, and when they have completed the entire course to give a redstone output, as you can see right here. It's pretty essential because otherwise your flying courses aren't going to work particularly well. So your first job is to go to the output of each one of your little obstacles and place what is known as an RS NOR latch. So I'm going to be using this little design here, which is just a dropper facing across like this, and then another dropper facing back into that dropper with an item on the inside. So that is our RS NOR latch right there. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I'm going to create a slightly different input. So I'm going to be running redstone out like this. Our redstone is going to be powered by that redstone block. It's then going to run it into this block here, and we're going to have once again our RS NOR latch just like this. So this here is the RS NOR latch. This is like a little toggle thing that you can create, and this is what is going to be toggling every time a player flies through an obstacle. Next up, we need to run a comparator output from the opposite side of the RS NOR latch from your input. So this side is the input side, which means that we need to take a comparator output from this one over here, and we're going to be running that straight out into a block with a redstone torch on top. Then on this side, once again, do the same thing, so just an RS NOR latch, and then we're going to take our comparator output from this one right here because our input is on that side, and we're going to be running that out into this redstone torch right here. Now all we have to do is connect up these two redstone torch lines, so I'm going to do that just a bit like this, running right the way across like that. Then we're just going to run redstone between them, and what we've essentially created here is an AND gate. So if we just take a redstone torch output from this one, then place a redstone lamp off to one side, that's our wind detection. So this will only turn on if a player has flown through both of these. If a player flies through one of them, for example, like this, then as you can see, we don't get a wind detection. It only happens if we go through this one as well, in which case our redstone lamp turns on. However, that redstone lamp is now on forever. It doesn't matter what I do. If I fly through this thing once again, nothing is going to change. That redstone lamp is going to stay on because these things are RS NOR latches, and that means that you need an input on the other side as well for it to all switch off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in a reset circuit, and the way that we do that is we run an input into the side of the circuit where the output is, if that makes any sense. So this side is going to be our input, and then this one over here, this is also going to be our input, and we are basically just going to connect those up using redstone. So I'm just going to run a line out like this. It's a little bit rough and a little bit messy, but it definitely does the job. And of course, depending on the size of your cores, this is going to get really rough and messy if you are working on a big one. But there we go, that should cover it. And now, as you can see, if we place down a button, give it a press, that resets both of our RS NOR latches, and our redstone lamp is turned off until, of course, the player flies through it once again, in which case it turns on again, because of course you've had yourself a win. That's basically how it works, and it's pretty simple, but really quite powerful. So there we have it, ladies and gents. That rounds up today's video on 5 different obstacles that you can use in your flying courses. Now, I do just want to let you know that I have put a ton of effort into today's video, and I really do hope it shows. I hope that you've enjoyed it, because it's been a lot of fun. It's been so much fun to record, and I'm finally getting back into the swing of things of redstone videos now, and it just feels brilliant. It seriously does. But unfortunately, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.